Husky fans, welcome into episode number 3 of NIU Weekly. I'm Andy Garcia, alongside the Associate Vice President and Director of Athletics here at NIU, Sean T. Frazier. Sean, great to be back with you. And episode number 3, this is our home, YouTube, the NIU Huskies channel. This is where you're going to be every week. We have football season shows like this, beyond. We'll have other things as well. So thank you to all the viewers so far. Some great turnout for the viewers. Hit the subscribe button. Never miss a video. Hit the bell, get notifications every time we do a video. That is a nice way to stay in touch with NIU Athletics and NIU Weekly. So we start episode number 3, Sean, and we had a home game last weekend. Great fan turnout here at Husky Stadium. Not the score we wanted. Huskies down by 26 halfway through the third quarter. Came back, took the lead, but Wyoming was able to come back and get the win late. But one, great to have fans back in the stands, and there were positives coming out of that game, Sean.
Yeah, there was. First off, just want to say thank you very much for our Husky Nation faithful that continue to show up. I'm losing my voice a little bit just as we kind of are running ourselves ragged a little bit, going to different events and venues. But it's so great to see our fan base. So great to see, face-to-face with masks, interactions. It was just great to see that throughout the tailgating lots and the different venues in the yard, the president's reception, and all these different places that we have. So want to congratulate that, but also too, our Huskies didn't quit, and folks unfortunately might have left, and I think we had a couple of fans that did. They had to recatch it on the TV because it was one heck of a comeback. And we had it, we had that with 5 minutes left to go, and we needed to stop, and we didn't get it done. And kudos to Wyoming, a veteran team. I believe 20 out of 22 starters returned on that team, and we saw the resilience of that team, and they wanted it, and they won. But as far as the never give up attitude, our kids were right there. Our young Huskies got it done, and it was a great game to see. It's great to see that offense churn those points out. So good stuff, though, Andy. Good stuff.
We're going to talk a little football. We're going to talk to NIU football's defensive coordinator, safeties coach Derek Jackson. We're going to talk a little women's soccer. Julie Kohlhoff is going to join me for NIU Weekly. So we've got a lot in this show. But, Sean, I know you want to talk about, there's some hiccups last week during the game operations at Husky Stadium. You mentioned it. You brought out and had a statement on Sunday. So I wanted you to at least have the opportunity to address the fans. And I know you guys are going to clean up a lot of stuff that you weren't happy about for the game coming up September 25th versus Maine.
Yeah, we're coming off of from digging out, right? We haven't had fans in the stands for now a year and a half or close to 2. And we had some operational challenges, and we knew some of them. So that's what made it hurt a little bit more, is that we knew we were going to have some of these staffing issues with our provider, Sodexo, our food service provider. But we also knew that there was going to be some other things that could impede on game day, and it happened. So the perfect storm happened. We saw some lines. We saw some disgruntlement. We saw some hot. It was a hot environment. So with the lack of water, we're still dealing with the 1965 facility. We do understand that. We're hoping to make those upgrades in the future. But there was no excuses. Part of the deal is that if we know these things, we need to make those adjustments prior to. But a perfect storm of staffing, as well as having supplies on hand, and our ability to move throughout the facility in a prompt and orderly fashion. So we did not meet the standard. And when you don't make the standard, you need to call yourself out. Leadership model. I've had a number of mentors who have told me that. I had a conversation with our president, I had a conversation with a number of our Husky faithful, and we need to get it done, and we will. So next week we'll have a listing of all the changes that we've made, point of sale, obviously dealing with the products and things that we have on sale to help the variety for our Husky Nation. But there's a number of things in quality controls that we need to up our game on. So, and that comes from being in the yard, that's being in-game service for, Husky Stadium. And just, again, meeting the standard. The standard needs to be met. We do a very good job once we get it going. We've got some new personnel that are not aware of the things and expectations that we have. I will tell you, look me in my good eye, they do know now. And we will get it done. You might see me in the different various areas, that you have not seen me before. That's a love of mine, game management. Our executive associate athletic director, my main guy, John Chaney, will take the lead on a lot of these different areas. He's very experienced. The last time we've had a fail like this on this level was about 8 years ago when Sodexo first started. So we took a bit of a back step because we're coming out of a very competitive and challenging environment with getting supplies as well as personnel to help us. So a lot of excuses. We're going to cut them off. We're going to get back at it. You will see a noticeable improvement in the different areas in operation for Maine and moving forward.
Yeah, good stuff there, Sean. And again, we don't want just fans to come out to Husky Stadium. We want fans to come out to the other venues. And you're going to see that on Saturday night, Victory Court, sold out crowd as volleyball takes on number 2 Wisconsin. Sold out, no more tickets. Wear black. Don't forget your mask as well. But how about Victory Court being sold out? Number 2 Wisconsin coming to town. Head coach Ray Gooden, volleyball, very excited about what they have coming up on Saturday night.
Yeah, there's no question about it. Obviously, I know there's a lot of comments about moving the venues. Coach does not want to do that. He wants the environment that he plays in. I support him 1,000%. It will be jam-packed. It is jam-packed. Great competition. Wisconsin, Green Bay. We're going to have a great time. And I'm glad. I'm glad for the coaching staff. I'm glad for our players, our student athletes. This is what it's all about. We're used to winning championships and competing at this level. Totally support Coach Gooden and his staff and our student athletes. And it's good to have a sellout. And this will be a standing only possible event at some time during the course of the competition. So great things, just great things overall. Great to have this level of scheduling. It's a hallmark of how we do things. And Coach Gooden is one of the best to do this. This is not prompting on my end. This is all his baby, and we're really excited to support him and our Huskies.
It's going to be fun Saturday night. Let's start now. It's time to talk a little football. NIU football is excited. They're getting ready to take on number 25 Michigan at the Big House on Saturday. We're joined by Huskies defensive coordinator and safeties coach Derek Jackson. Coach, appreciate the time. And before we get to Michigan and the upcoming schedule, what have you seen so far from your defense through 2 games?
I think the guys are playing with a lot of urgency, a lot of physicality, and I think most importantly, having a lot of fun. I think you can look at a group that's having a ton of energy, guys that enjoy playing together. And if we can continue that, good things are going to bold for us in the future as we continue to move forward.
I think to be a good defense, you need that depth. And we know that NIU's been able to develop that depth. You have it now on the defensive side this year.
Oh, no doubt. So I think we're too deep at almost every position. Even though we've had some injuries, we've been able to withstand them because we have quality backups. Coach Hammock did, I think, an outstanding job when you look at our recruiting from our first 3 seasons of adding pieces to where at every level that we look at, even though we're young, we're experienced, but we have size, we have physicality, and we have athleticism, which are some of the things we maybe lacked when we first walked into the program from how it fits our scheme.
Sean?
Yeah, I think that's very well said, Coach. That's just you're spot on. I've watched it develop underneath your watch, underneath Coach Hammock's watch. Tell me about the growth period. Okay, only 2 games, a small sample size. I get it. You're going to critique the hell out of it because you're the professional here. But talk to me about what you like from week 1 to week 2, and now as we kind of go into Michigan.
Yeah, so I think, the one thing that stood up is it was truly 2 different styles of plays. We played a spread offense, wide open, quarterback with a ton of athleticism. And then we had to jump into a game where it was basically every formation that's ever been invented to man we saw. But what I loved was our guys were able to adjust. The growth they showed to be able to go from one game plan to another game plan, to be able to get us lined up. We made the right checks. We made the right adjustments. We may not have executed at the level that we wanted to on a consistent basis, but those were things we could not do a year ago. And then the other part of it, which I think was exciting, is while we were down, we were never out. This was a team that maybe, again, in 2020, the score would have looked different over the course of 60 minutes, whereas we had the lead with an opportunity to win a game that we didn't play a good enough first half to really merit that opportunity. But we have guys now that they don't have a 2020 mentality. They have a MAC championship mentality. That is the long-term goal, and that is the work ethic, and I think what they come to every day to practice with. is it's a one-game mentality, but the long end goal is for us to play the championship level and compete at that level at all times, not just when things go well.
I know the main goal for a defense is to stop an offense, but you also have to commit turnovers, get those turnovers. And we've seen your defense get some turnovers more than we saw maybe in last year for sure. I know that's been a big emphasis for you. Get turnovers from that offense.
No, it has been, and I still think it's not at the level we need it to be. I think when you look at it, it's kind of a two-pronged event. Balls are in the air. We have to do a better job of attacking the ball. We've had some tip balls that we have not come up with. And when we talk to our guys, we say tips and overthrows. We always hear yells, got to get those, because those are balls that the quarterback is helpless on when that thing is up there floating around. So we've got to do a better job reacting to some of those throws. I think in terms of the turnovers, we have to do in our tackling, the second and third guy have to continue to attack the ball better. I think we're doing a good job of getting hats to the ball, but sometimes we're finishing the tackle as opposed to thinking taking the ball away is the most important thing in the game. Georgia Tech, we had the opportunity before halftime, that the one that kind of went to, instant replay, that would have created a scoring opportunity. That's what you see, I think, in the game of football nowadays. If you can win the takeaway battle, you're going to win football games. So we have to make that a more immediate action for us on defense.
Sean?
So you're constantly teaching out there. I was out of practice this week, and to be perfectly honest with you, it's really refreshing to hear someone break it down in a way that the players can consume, understand, react, and then make adjustments. That's what I like to do, is like to hear how our coaches do that. Talk to me about the position group on the defense that has really come along in your estimation, that's really made the difference and just making it that never quit mentality.
I really think that it's our front four, and when you look there, while it is the youngest position maybe across the defense, it may be the most experienced position across the defense, because every young man up there started a game or all 6 games for us last year. So I think they were battle tested. I think the offseason, the physical growth we had on our D-line, it changed the perspective of our football program. I think Coach Hammock would attest to that we want to be a physical football team from a defensive mentality, from an offensive mentality. If you don't have 4 guys up front or 8 guys up front in terms of our depth that can punch you in the mouth over and over again, it's hard to be that style of play. And because we now have guys who can throw punches, who can take punches, and can come back and throw some more punches, we physically can try to impose our will upon opponents. And I think, again, the consistency is where we have to get better at, but we're moving in that direction. And the more we get battle tested, the more these guys are going to find that it's going to become something that we can hang our hat on over the course of our time here as a defensive with this program.
Well, your D-line's got a nice challenge this week, taking on number 25, Michigan. No surprise what Michigan's going to want to do. They're going to want to run it, 50 times at least, Coach. But what's your thoughts going into Michigan, playing in front of 109,000? I know your defense is going to be excited. A big challenge ahead against the Wolverines.
The first thing I told the guys is this is an opportunity for a life-changing moment. So as big as the Georgia Tech win was for us, this is one of the most storied programs, probably the largest crowd I would think we will ever have played in front of. And then more importantly, a style of play to where what your opponent is going to do. They will have to deviate from what their strength has been the first 2 games to basically do something that would surprise us. So if I know they're in front of us and I know they're going to punch us, now it comes, what type of mental fortitude do you have going into this game? And so it's going to be, again, a 15-round fight. We've told our guys that the level of physicality necessary to win this game is going to get amped up, because they want to play a physical style of game. They want to impose their will. And then they have, I think, 2 exceptional running backs, 2 different styles. One is a quick, explosive. When he gets out, he's gone back. The others are more of a downhill runner. So the challenge is to be able to understand when one guy's in the game or the other guy, how are we going to try to, conceptually keep them inside of us, keep them in front of us, and then gang tackle at a level that if we can minimize explosive plays, then we give ourselves an opportunity come the 4th quarter to then let the dust settle and see what the score says.
Sean?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. You got 109,000 people in there. You have an opportunity to get them to say your name, as Coach Hammock has alluded to it on several times. We've had that history here at NIU. I know you know that, again, with the boneyard victories. So the motivation is one thing, but then the other part of that is being in a proper position to make plays. Tell me exactly, without giving away the whole scheme,
right?
The philosophy going in there, and from the defense that gave up 50 points, just call it what it is. Right. I don't think we want to say anything different. Like, just call it what it is. But understanding what they do and in our strength, just give us a little bit of a snapshot of what that looks like.
Yeah, I think the most important thing that we talked to the kids about was that we have to have a own your gap mentality. So if everybody can be accountable for their 1/11th of our defense, and then 11 guys can collectively play as one, we're going to be in a position to at least minimize the damage that they can inflict. I think the other part of it becomes trust. We're going to have a scheme in place that at times are going to show some looks we have not shown. It's going to be, I think, a more aggressive approach towards this game, because we understand that if we allow them to stay on schedule, we are not going to be successful, because they're going to dictate the flow of the game. What we have to do is be able to get them off schedule, be unpredictable with some of the things that we're doing, some of the looks we're showing, but also I think be more aggressive. We want our guys to play downhill. When you know that they're going to play a style of football that is going to challenge us, then we need to come back at them with some things that are going to challenge them equally and say, no, we're not going to let you push us around and lean on us. We're going to try to create some angles and do some things differently to try to make you have to figure some things out as well. Make their coaches earn their keep, not just have some dominoes lined up, which I think the first 2 weeks you've seen, they've been able to kind of minimize what people are doing against them and then lean on them heavily. Well, we're not going to be able to sit there and do that. We're going to have to be very flexible in what we do, very innovative in what we do, but at the same time, not go outside the framework of maximizing what our personnel can do.
Having a guy like Lance DeVoe in the middle like that. I mean, sure, there's a lot of youth, and they've got some games under their belt. To have a guy like Lance DeVoe, is he one of the captains? He's one of the vocal guys. Who are some of the captains you lean on the defensive side?
So I think, it starts with Lance just because he's the man in the middle and he is playing at a very high level. So as I alluded to kind of, earlier this season, this is our first year having coached Lance, 2 games is 2 more than I've ever had with him. And I can't imagine, what it was like without him now, because he's steady Eddie. You know where he's going to be. You know what he's going to do. He's a stabilizing force. And when you're not down there with the players, you understand that he's someone that can galvanize the troops to stay on point with the message. James Esther has been outstanding. He's returning back to his home roots. So, he's a Cass Tech alumnus from right there in Michigan, probably 45 minutes from Ann Arbor. So I would think him having a chance to go home as a captain, a place that didn't recruit him, to have an opportunity to showcase the type of player he is. And we think he's an all-conference caliber player, no doubt in the middle. That's a presence. That's going to be awesome. And then I think, again, just Nick Ratine, another guy at linebacker who unsung maybe in what he does for the defense, because he really is kind of the guy that is the glue that holds us together, because he can fill in at outside backer, inside backer. He really can do everything. And then he's someone that, again, has been battle tested. He has played more football than anyone else on our defense, even though he's a young guy.
I know you're looking forward to not just Michigan, but moving forward in the schedule, getting into the MAC and seeing the development of this defense. Again, we talk about the youth, we talk about games under their belts, but I think, as you mentioned, they're going to be battle tested. We've seen it already this couple of games. They're going to get Michigan and Maine before we get into the conference play. But I'm really looking forward to the defense developing and turning into what this team needs them to be, and that's a championship defense. And I know you're looking forward to that as well.
No doubt. I think, we said we want to have a MAC championship level defense. We want to be the best defense in the MAC. And to me, that encompasses scoring defense. That encompasses the takeaway battle. We have been traditionally a good third down defense, which gives you the opportunity to be successful, that we have to improve on. But our guys will tell you every day, we never talk about, again, just being average. We talk about the MAC championship, because we think, although we're a team that has not played in it since we've been here, that is a realistic goal for us as a team, is a realistic goal for us as a defense. And if we play the way we're capable of playing, that should be something that we can circle Detroit as a destination. Not that we're watching the game, but that we're part of the game when that time comes.
One of the best voices for radio right here, Derek Jackson. I love when players, and we had that earlier in the season when they gave us some good impersonations of your voice. That was great. You have a great voice. When you're done, come over with radio with me and we'll have fun. But appreciate the time, Coach. Good luck against Michigan. But really, we're looking forward to the development of this defense moving forward this season.
No, appreciate y'all's time. Love the opportunity to be on here with you.
From football, we move on to women's soccer. They're coming down to the end of the non-conference schedule when we bring on the fourth season now as the head coach of women's soccer, Julie Kohlhoff. And Julie, great to get you on. And how would you describe the season so far? You've gone through 7 games. You've got one more non-conference game before you get to the MAC. How would you describe the season so far?
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for having me. It's great to be here. But I think so far this season, there have been some really good highs and some lows that we got to obviously work on. But overall, I think it's been a good start to season in terms of preparing us for the MAC, right? We've had some tough matches, obviously some overtime matches, things like that. But it's good to see us step up in different ways, obviously scoring a lot more goals than we have in previous seasons. A couple players, really stepping up in big ways for us. And then, some newcomers starting to solidify themselves as well. So overall, I think, are we satisfied? Absolutely not. I think there are games we should have closed out, that we let drop. But for the most part, I think we'll be able to use those failures as fuel as we head into, our final non-conference. And then, like you said, conference coming up here soon.
How have you felt your team has transitioned? You played in the spring. Now you have the quick back here to the fall, which is where it belongs. And how you feel your team has done transitioning from that spring season now, getting ready and getting in now to the fall season?
I think honestly pretty well, actually. The concern was always how would injuries be, but I almost feel, knock on wood, that it's worked in our favor in some ways, like people coming in a little bit more chomping at the bit, if you will, right? Because, you have some of those games really fresh in your mind. So some games that, dropped or were close that you kind of want to find a way to make up for, so to speak, right? So I think in a lot of ways that helped motivate us coming into the fall. So it's just like continuing to carry that momentum.
Let's talk about some of the goal scorers. We'll start with Haley Hoppy. 6 goals this season, ranks in the top 20 nationally. She only had 6 goals all of her career going into this season, and now her 12 career goals ranked 10th all-time in program history. What have you seen from Haley to start out the season?
Yeah, no, I mean, Haley's off to a great start for sure. Everyone can see that. One thing I think that people forget about Haley is that she actually started her career here as a defender and has been working over the years to, establish herself as a forward. And obviously she is very capable and talented. And I think the thing that, you see the stats and you just think, wow, okay, great. She has a knack for, putting the ball in the back of the net. But what you don't see in the stats is all the work she's put into that. So over the years, it's not been easy. There have been, injuries, obviously coaching changes, COVID, right? All of these different things. But each moment when I think she could have kind of like hung it up, right? And said like, nah, this isn't for me. She's decided to persevere through those things. And that's shown a lot on the pitch, right? And I think that's why she's having success now, which I'm super proud of her for. I know it like I said, it hasn't come easy, but she's stuck with it. And I've seen her game just elevate tremendously from both the defensive work she does to help create the goals, the attacking, just understanding and her soccer IQ and kind of reading kind of how to get herself in certain areas to be dangerous has really improved a ton as well. So we're super proud of her. Not surprised in the least. I think we barely are scratching the surface, to be honest, of what she's capable of. So I anticipate that we'll continue to see more from her.
Who are some of the other players we should watch for? Some of the more of the players around the offensive side.
I think Edith Delgado is one of our freshmen that's shown so far to be extremely technical on the ball for us. So right now she's been playing in the midfield for us, although coming in, she's traditionally played more of like a winger type spot. But for us, we're like, okay, can you, help create and really set up our forwards to score goals, which I think that's been a big part that I should mention too from Haley's success is I think there's players that are doing a better job of getting her the ball, whereas past seasons we weren't doing that as well. But yeah, Edith has shown a good technical ability, definitely, and is adjusting well, I think, to the college game. I think a couple other people, obviously Kiera Myers, so she's, coming off being recognized by the MAC last season. And she's always a threat. She's dangerous. And although she just scored her first goal of the season last game, I think what gets lost in stats, right, is all the work that she's doing to help create opportunities, right? She's a pest up top for other teams' defenders to have to track and withstand over long periods of time. So she's definitely one that I think we'll see more goals from here soon, for sure.
You mentioned Kiermaier, one of the Illinois products. You have 16 student athletes from the state of Illinois. Also, a local on the roster too from Sycamore, senior Jenna Louie, and we mentioned Kiermaier, a sophomore. You've had success finding players in the state of Illinois. Has it just been that the state's always been good for soccer, but it seems like you've been able to find the right players to put into this program here in the land of Lincoln?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're fortunate that we are in a great women's soccer state, and we'd be fools not to find all the gems in our own backyard first, right? So obviously we have great players from out of state as well, but we want to recruit local when we have those opportunities, and there are some great clubs that we're able to pull from. And then I think it says something about people wanting to come to NIU. You know what I mean? When you're from Illinois and the reputation of the school, and you see the facilities and what we're trying to do here, and kind of this family environment that we forge, people want to be a part of that. So I think that speaks to that as well.
What have you seen from the defensive side so far this season?
I think there are some things we gotta shore up for. I was gonna say for sure, but I think overall there have been some really good things too. So our back line has a lot of inexperience, to be honest, and what they've done is show their caliber in different moments of coming up with big stops, big transition stops for us. I think organizationally we're getting better and better each game, and then we need to kind of shore up our midfield defensively a little bit as well, but. Those things are getting better progressively, and it's good to see several different players being able to contribute in those roles, because we put a lot of pressure on them. It's a big job, a big role from a communication leadership standpoint, from delivering on your skill set, obviously shutting down some really high caliber attackers from the other team. So we've been able to have a pretty good rotation back there of players that have stepped up in different ways and complement each other in different ways. So I'm looking forward to continue to build off of that.
You got one more non-conference Friday night at South Dakota State, going to Brookings. Talk a little bit about that team, but also, again, you've been prepping, all these non-con getting ready for the MAC, and take a look at South Dakota State. What should we expect on Friday night?
Yeah, I mean, I anticipate South Dakota State being a very quality opponent. They traditionally are very good this season. They're doing very well. And by design, this is our last game before conference, because I expect conference to be that exact same way. So it's purposely challenging, right? We're going to be on the road. It's a long trip. It's a quality opponent. But I think at the end of the day, what we keep talking about as a program is this, on the outside, it looks like it's us versus them, but this is really like us versus us, right? Which version of ourselves are going to show up? And for us, that's the focus, right? Making sure that we're executing our game plan, that we are, defending to deflate is what we say, and then attacking from all angles, and then making sure we're, never surrendering as the game goes on. So that's what hopefully you'll be seeing come Friday night as we take this final match and then head into MAC.
Yeah, you talked about heading into the MAC. Bowling Green won it back in the spring. So you're playing 11 MAC games. And just for everyone on, last year, women's soccer, they played home and away just against MAC West. And the MAC isn't set up in typically divisions, if you're not familiar with it. But this year, 11 games, just one time, right? Playing all 11 other teams and go at it. And do you like that setup? Is that something you'd like seeing in the future? Talk about the setup of the schedule.
I love it. Yeah. I'm excited to be getting back to playing everybody. I think it was great to get what we could out of, a year that obviously was kind of lost because of COVID, but definitely super excited to be able to play a full MAC schedule. It's a great conference. There's a ton of competition, and it's also one of those conferences where any given day a team can win essentially, and there can be upsets and things of that nature. So it's a fun conference to be a part of. It's a challenging one to be a part of, but it's fun. And so we're definitely looking forward to that. And like you mentioned, obviously early on, we have Bowling Green as one of our first couple matches. And, they've over the past several years have been a little bit of a powerhouse in our conference. So I think that'll be a great way to kind of, I shouldn't say kick off the conference, because obviously we played before that, but to really test ourselves, right? And kind of measure ourselves up and see if we can step up to the challenge, which I believe we'll be able to.
First MAC game Thursday, taking on Toledo. I'll let you expand a little bit on the Rockets and the Falcons. A tough schedule to start out, but how do you feel the MAC will be this year? Are the teams getting more? Teams getting better? Is it deep this year in the conference?
Well, I think one benefit for every team right now is that every group of freshmen from last year got a little taste of season, right, and some experience. So I think that will help coming into this year, and then obviously everybody has their new classes as well. Mixing in with their, veteran players. So I think across the board, we're all probably working from similar places in that sense. one thing is like returning seniors that are coming back, fifth year seniors for, that extra COVID year. There are a couple teams that have like some really, really quality players coming back that I think will strengthen their teams, but I feel the same way about us. So I'm excited about that. I think that, starting off with Toledo will be a great start. We have some avenging to do, if you will. And they're off to a good start this season as well. And I know that our players are going to come in, chomping at the bit to be able to make our mark early and demonstrate, okay, this last game isn't what we want to stick with, right? But yeah, I think it'll be a great competitive MAC season, and I'm looking forward to showcasing our growth, right? And then obviously winning games. And what's so super exciting is that there's the MAC championships back, right? So we have the ability to fight for a championship, right? To make it to playoffs and everything. And so that is definitely, in our minds constantly as we are building each day.
Yeah, let's be honest, that's huge. Having the championships back is big, having an opportunity at that. And I know you're looking forward to having fans back out, and hopefully a lot of fans can come out to track and field and soccer complex and be in the stands and root on NIU this year. I know you guys are excited to be back in front of fans, and hopefully they come out for the conference. Yeah,
absolutely. It's been great so far, seeing everybody out there and families, and after the game, being able to say hello to people again and to, safely, obviously still distance and outside, but to have our families there supporting our players is huge. And, the fan base as well. It was a huge benefit for us the other day, having like the men's soccer team out there supporting us, women's basketball, volleyball. There's tons of different athletic teams at NIU that come out and support us as well. So we're fortunate to be back out there with everybody.
Coach, I appreciate the time, and good luck with the upcoming schedule, and hopefully you get a good long run into the MAC.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
As we wrap things up on this NIU Weekly, Sean, we also have to acknowledge what a huge win men's soccer had this past week. They beat number 18 Marquette. Ryan Swan, his team really playing well. A big win for him, 4-0, really dominated a big win over Marquette, and then a 4-0 win at Milwaukee to have the Luane Cup. So that's perfect. So you get the 4-0 win against Milwaukee, you get the win against number 18 Marquette. A nice week for men's soccer. Head coach Ryan Swan, we had him on a couple weeks ago. They're playing with a lot of energy. They're having fun out there, and they're showing the results, Sean.
Yeah, Coach Swan, I tell you, this team is as advertised by him and the staff, and picking up from that shortened season that we've had just a few months ago. But you see the talent, you see the grit, determination. The boys are having fun, and it's great. It's great to have that, because a lot of work has been put in building this team, and also leading this moving forward. So yeah, I wouldn't sleep on them. I would definitely get a chance to come out and see our guys play. Come on out. It's a great thing.
And we heard from Coach Kohlhoff. We heard, talks about Ryan Swan. Again, free admission out to the NIU track and soccer complex. So go online, NIUHuskies.com, to see when the home games are coming up. And we do have a couple home games. We mentioned volleyball Thursday night, taking on Green Bay, 6 p.m. That's also on ESPN+. Saturday, the big one, number 2 Wisconsin in town, sold out. If you can't make it out, that'll be on ESPN+ as well. Another home game coming up this week, men's soccer, Saturday, September 18th, taking on Western Illinois. That's at 5 p.m. Again, the rest of the schedule is at NIUHuskies.com. Bill Baker, Mark Lindo, myself, be on the call starting at 10:30 in the morning on Saturday. It's number 25 Michigan hosting NIU. Boy, it'd be great to get another boneyard victory. This one's going to be a tough one, though. Michigan's playing well, Sean, but I know everyone's excited to have the challenge to go up to Ann Arbor and take on the Wolverines.
Yeah, it's gonna be a challenge, no question. But you know what, Andy, they're all challenges, right? Yeah. So you got to believe. We got to execute. We're gonna have to play good, sound, fundamental football, offense, defense, special teams, like Coach Hammock says. Tough man football, as he calls it. But you got to keep the faith. I know where I'm going to be, right there on the sideline, cheering our guys on. God bless them. Let's go. Let's make it happen.
Hopefully we see a lot of Husky fans up in the big house this Saturday. I know some people are making the trip. So done. That's 10:30 in the morning pregame on the radio, and the kick around 11 a.m. on Big Ten Network for TV. Special thanks, Derek Jackson and Julie Kohlhoff, for joining us. And Sean, let's have a good week. See if we can get some victories, and we'll talk next week on the show.
Appreciate it, Andy. Let's go Huskies. See you soon.
For Sean T. Frazier, I'm Andy Garcia. Thank you for watching NIU Weekly. We'll talk to you next week. Go Huskies.